The Springfield accident can bill just dropped, and I think this is the perfect time to actually cover the Dead Bart creepypasta. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the iconic Simpson TV show, which many say paved the way for shows like Family Guy and American Dad. And even if you're not familiar with the show, I'm sure you probably have seen this classic image of Homer choking Bart. Weirdly enough though, choking is not the way that Bart dies in this mod or in the original creepypasta. The lore actually goes like this. In the original Dead Bart creepypasta, there was a lost episode of The Simpsons that goes by the name of Dead Bart. The lost episode was created by the original creator of The Simpsons named Matt Groening. Now it seems that after making the episode, Matt hid it away and would get very angry if anybody would ask him about it, almost as if he was afraid of something. One day a person met with Matt at a Simpson fan event and asked about the episode in person. Even though Matt looked nervous, he gave the person a piece of paper with a website on it. When the person got home, he went to the website and downloaded a file that put a crazy virus on his computer, which basically shut it down for a while. When the man was able to finally boot his computer up again, he actually had access to this lost Simpson episode. The episode started out fairly normal, but the quality was very low, just like we see in the mod here actually. Another thing that was different is the personalities of the characters. They all seemed to be amplified. Homer, for example, was super angry, Marge was very depressed, and Lisa seemed very nervous. And Bart, for whatever reason, seemed to really hate his parents. Later in the episodes, the Simpsons get on an airplane because they're going on some type of family vacation, but for some reason, once the airplane is about 50 feet off the ground, Bart actually breaks a window and is sucked out of the plane. And this is where we actually get the original image of Dead Bart. And this also explains why his head literally looks like it's cracked open. He basically hits the ground from 50 feet up. The next part of the episode shows the family sitting at a table sobbing, and what was creepy about this is that the crying sounded very realistic. Another weird occurrence in the scene is that you could hear murmuring in the background as if random people were speaking just off screen. And as time passed by, it seemed like the episode was starting to get more and more staticky. The episode ends with the family deciding to go to visit Bart's grave, but weirdly enough, all of Springfield was abandoned and all the houses looked old and run down. When the family arrived at the graveyard, it's noted that Bart's body is actually lying on top of his grave instead of being buried for some reason. The creepiest part about the ending of this episode is what was written on Bart's gravestone. It seems that it had all the guest stars to ever appear in The Simpsons and even had a list of people who were supposed to come on in the future. What makes this creepy though is that each of the names had a death date next to it. And guest stars that had already died have their correct death date on the actual gravestone, which should be impossible since the lost episode was created before the death of some of those people. It was almost as if this lost episode could predict the death of guests that were coming onto the show. And what was also weird is that the upcoming guests for the show had their death dates all on the same day, as if something terrible is going to happen to all the guest stars at the same time. And it kind of gives this vibe as if Matt was so afraid because this tape is cursed. Now that we understand the backstory of Dead Bart, let's cover some of the other characters in the mod, the first of which being Graggle Simpson, or aka Gumpley. Even though this character looks like he belongs in the Simpsons show, he's actually just a joke or a meme character that was created by an internet user who claimed that this character was a real member of the Simpsons cast. But for whatever reason, this character had been removed before the show officially released. This character was supposed to be like a type of alien, so think of like Roger from American Dad, but as I said, he's not actually a real character, just basically like a fan character that somebody made. Next, we have this character that confused people a little bit. This character is basically just the original version of Bart from back in the day. And here's the rest of the family in their original design, which obviously got changed later on. The last character in this mod is going to be Milhouse holding a flower, and this actual image is from season 7, episode 35 of The Simpsons. The episode is called The Summer of 4'2". This character is from the scene where Bart and Milhouse are playing a game with Homer and Marge, and Bart pulls out a picture which is called the Dud, which of course happens to look a lot like Milhouse, or as Homer calls him, Poindexter. Fun fact about this episode is that this is where the Dud meme actually comes from. I'm sure most of you have probably seen the images online or the videos where people open the door and they see this image and then they get that creepy Homer smile. That meme actually comes from this episode, and here's Homer actually doing the smile in the episode. Now, with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this video on the screen here. Subscribe today to become a member of the Orseofkorse, and we'll see you later with another video. Peace, peace.